Welcome to College Briefing. The content of the briefing includes the West's poisoning the blood moment, Trump's creating just the kind of legal chaos he wants for 2024, Taylor Swift's new romance, debt erasing gifts, and the eclipse are among most joyous moments of 2023. Key takeaways from an AP investigation into how police failed to stop a serial killer. Total systemic breakdown, missteps over years allowed Detroit serial killer to roam free. The West's poisoning the blood moment. Washington Post. The issue of migration is growing into a political battleground in both the US and Europe, with right-wing parties and politicians using the issue to gain support. Donald Trump has claimed that undocumented migrants are poisoning the blood of the US, echoing the language of 20th-century fascists. Joe Biden has sought to take a more humane approach, but this has been overshadowed by the rise in arrivals of those seeking asylum. The political battle is expected to intensify in the run-up to the 2024 US presidential election. In Europe, the issue has already affected a number of elections, with far-right parties gaining support. In the Netherlands, the far right came first in recent elections, while Germany's far-right AfD party has also seen a rise in support. In France, President Emmanuel Macron has pushed through legislation aimed at limiting arrivals to France and reducing support to migrants. The legislation was seen as an ideological victory by far-right leader Marine Le Pen, who is seen as a contender for the presidency when Macron's term ends. Trump's creating just the kind of legal chaos he wants for 2024. CNN. Donald Trump's request to the Supreme Court on Wednesday was perhaps his most brazen delay tactic yet. He urged the High Court not to get involved right now in the question of whether he is immune from federal prosecution for alleged crimes committed while in office, his latest attempt to ask the legal system to effectively bend to his political will. The move echoed what Trump's legal strategy has been in all of his criminal cases to date, to delay the proceedings, ideally beyond the 2024 election. Taylor Swift's new romance, debt erasing gifts, and the eclipse are among most joyous moments of 2023. Associated Press. In a year filled with tragedy and sadness, there were a few moments that brought joy and hope. Some of these moments include the romance between sports star Travis Kelce and singer Taylor Swift, the awe-inspiring Ring of Fire solar eclipse, the selfless act of erasing medical debt by Casey McIntyre, and the spiritual homecoming for Native American tribes with the renaming of a popular campground in the Grand Canyon. These moments brought happiness and inspiration to many people, reminding them to find joy even in the midst of difficult times. Despite the challenges of the year, these events allowed people to hold on to positive memories and find something to root for. From the romance between Kelce and Swift to the eclipse that filled people with awe, these moments provided a break from the tumultuous events of 2023 and brought moments of hope and joy. Key takeaways from an AP investigation into how police failed to stop a serial killer. Associated Press. D'Angelo Martin killed 4 women and raped 2 others between 2018 and 2019 in Detroit, after police failed to adequately follow up on leads or take the steps that may have stopped him. In 2012, the state crime lab linked Martin to a sexual assault that had occurred 8 years earlier. In 2016, police reinvestigated the assault but closed the case when they learned the victim had died. The following year, the lab linked Martin's DNA to another sexual assault, but police closed the case when the victim declined to cooperate. In 2018, Martin killed his first known victim, but police arrested the wrong man. When DNA testing linked the crime to Martin, police failed to obtain a warrant to confirm the hit. Subsequently, Martin had repeated unrelated contact with police officers, but the Detroit police did not seek help from other area law enforcement agencies. Martin's second victim was discovered in March 2019, but police did not seek charges until after the bodies of Martin's third and fourth victims were discovered in May of that year. Families of the victims have expressed their anger at the failures of the police. Total systemic breakdown, missteps over years allowed Detroit serial killer to roam free. Associated Press. An Associated Press investigation has revealed that the Detroit Police Department failed to act on multiple leads and warnings that could have prevented a serial killer from murdering 4 women and raping 2 others. The police did not follow up on evidence from a rape in 2004, which was stored in a warehouse and forgotten for years. The victim was dead by the time the case was reopened. Other lapses included arresting the wrong man in a murder case and failing to take action when the wrong man was implicated in a sexual assault through DNA evidence. The police only arrested D'Angelo Martin for the crimes after he raped another woman and murdered 3 more. In 2019, Martin was sentenced to between 45 and 70 years in prison. The AP obtained records from the police force's internal affairs branch that found the agency's sex crimes unit did not properly handle DNA hits and had a total systemic breakdown. Shoplifting reaches highest level on record in Victoria as cost of living pressures bite. ABC. Thefts from retail stores have reached record levels in Victoria, Australia, with a 40% increase in shoplifting incidents in the year ending September 30, 2023. Consumable items, such as liquor, clothing, and snack food, were the most frequently stolen goods. The thefts are reportedly linked to inflation and cost of living pressures, with 40% of offenders thought to be first-time offenders. Larger shopping centres were most affected by the rise in theft, with Melbourne, Greater Dandenong, and Geelong seeing some of the biggest increases. Iceland's volcano eruption means some won't be home for Christmas. Here's what we know. ABC. A volcanic eruption in southwestern Iceland began on Monday night after weeks of anticipation by scientists. The eruption occurred after a series of small earthquakes, with lava pouring out of a fissure about 4 kilometers long. The eruption is not expected to produce much ash or cause major disruptions to flights, unlike the geological eruption in 2010. However, the eruption could result in pollution from volcanic gas, and it is still uncertain how long the eruption will last or when residents will be able to return to their homes. Iceland is one of the most volcanically active areas on Earth. Cardano Foundation partners with Brazil's state-owned oil company for blockchain education. Yahoo! The Cardano Foundation has partnered with Petrobras, Brazil's state-owned oil company, to provide blockchain education and explore technology use cases in the energy sector. The Cardano Foundation will deliver blockchain education workshops for Petrobras' 45,000 employees, using content from the Cardano Academy, which will be made available through Petrobras University. The workshops will cover a range of blockchain applications and use cases, and participants who complete the training will receive a certificate. The first 500 participants will also receive non-fungible tokens, NFTs, co-created with the Petrobras Education Board. Scientists are creating rice of the future with one incredible feature, integral to feeding a growing population that is projected to reach 10 billion. Yahoo! Scientists at the University of Sheffield have found that reducing the number of stomata in rice makes it more resistant to salt water, according to a study published in the New Phytologist. Rice, which accounts for 20% of the human diet, requires 40% of global irrigation, and is becoming increasingly difficult to grow in areas affected by rising sea levels. The team overexpressed the EPF1 gene in 72 varieties of rice, producing plants which accumulated salt at a lower level. The scientists now plan to develop rice that is more heat-resistant. This year's first-round uni offers revealed. The Sydney Morning Herald. The most popular university courses in Victoria, Australia, are in Society and Culture, Health, and Management and Commerce, according to data from the Victorian Tertiary Admissions Centre, VTAC. The popularity of these courses has increased, with health seeing the largest growth in applications. There has also been a surge in interest in education courses, as the state government announced a $229 million package to address the teacher shortage and encourage more people into the teaching profession. Overall, 4 out of 5 students were offered their first or second preference for university courses. VTAC will release further offers in January and February. Record-breaking, Chinese scientists use electricity to extract uranium from sea. South China Morning Post. Chinese scientists have developed a new method for extracting uranium from seawater using electricity. The technique, which is 3 times faster than current methods, uses an electrode to capture uranium through electrochemical reactions. The technology is seen as a way of overcoming China's reliance on imports to fuel its nuclear reactors. The team from Northeast Normal University in Changchun, Jilin Province published their findings in the journal ACS Central Science. Congress probes Harvard president plagiarism claim. BBC. The U.S. Congressional Committee on Education and the Workforce is investigating plagiarism allegations against Harvard President Claudine Gay. The committee is also investigating her handling of anti-Semitism on campus. The committee is looking into whether students and staff are held to the same academic standards. The investigation is aimed at determining if Harvard is violating the public's trust and applying standards inconsistently. The committee has requested documents and communications related to the plagiarism inquiry, as well as a list of any academic disciplinary actions taken against faculty or students since 2019. Harvard's governing board stated that it had found instances of inadequate citation in Dr. Gay's academic history but concluded that she did not violate research misconduct standards. Recent reports from U.S. outlets claim further instances of plagiarism. Meet the Russian professor who became mayor of a Colombian city. The Toronto Star. Mikhail Krasnov, a 45-year-old university professor from Russia, was elected as the mayor of Tunja, Colombia in October. Krasnov, who has been living in Tunja for 13 years, promised to tackle corruption and implement more meritocracy in the city government. He is also working to reduce the city's debt and attract investors. Krasnov's victory reflects growing dissatisfaction with the city's political class. He won the election with 31% of the overall vote. Krasnov was born in Russia, but he has Ukrainian roots and became a Colombian citizen 2 years ago. Baltimore Barbie, LSU's Reese enjoys her homecoming in a game that was a win for both teams. Associated Press. Angel Reese, the LSU star, brought her team to Baltimore to face Coppin State in a rare marquee home game for the Meek School. The Tigers won 80-48, with Reese scoring 26 points. The game was about more than basketball and meant a lot to Reese, who is from Baltimore. A lot of little girls knowing they can have this opportunity was something that was important to me, Reese said. The crowd was the first sellout at PEC Arena for a Coppin State sporting event since the venue opened in 2009. How ugly loss to Georgia incited latest round of Ole Miss football transfer portal dominance. Yahoo! Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin and defensive coordinator Pete Golding have successfully addressed the team's defensive shortcomings by recruiting from the transfer portal. The Rebels have already gained 10 transfer commitments, with 8 on the defense. 5 players came directly from SEC peers. Kiffin and Golding's approach has allowed the Rebels to compete against teams such as Georgia, which previously thrashed them. The Rebels' defense improved in their first season under Golding, and Kiffin believes that adding transfer players will help make them an elite defense in the SEC. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your favorite observer from the six-dimensional world, Dr. Six, here with your daily dose of news and analysis. Let's dive right in. First up, we have the issue of migration, which is becoming a political battleground in both the US and Europe. Right-wing parties and politicians are using this issue to gain support, with Donald Trump even claiming that undocumented migrants are poisoning the blood of the US. It's a disturbing echo of the language used by 20th-century fascists. On the other hand, Joe Biden is taking a more humane approach, but this has been overshadowed by the rise in arrivals of those seeking asylum. This political battle is only expected to intensify in the run-up to the 2024 US presidential election. In Europe, far-right parties are already gaining support, as seen in recent elections in the Netherlands and Germany. President Emmanuel Macron in France has also pushed through legislation aimed at limiting arrivals and reducing support to migrants, which has been seen as an ideological victory by far-right leader Marine Le Pen. It's clear that migration will continue to be a contentious issue on both sides of the Atlantic. Next, we turn to the ever-entertaining world of Donald Trump. The former president has once again resorted to his usual delay tactics, this time urging the Supreme Court not to get involved in the question of whether he is immune from federal prosecution for alleged crimes committed while in office. It's a brazen move aimed at bending the legal system to his political will, and it's just the kind of chaos he wants for the 2024 election. Trump's legal strategy has always been to delay proceedings, ideally beyond the next election. It's like watching a never-ending circus with this man, isn't it? Now, let's take a break from politics and focus on some moments of joy and inspiration from 2023. From the romance between sports star Travis Kelce and singer Taylor Swift to the awe-inspiring solar eclipse and the selfless act of erasing medical debt, these moments reminded us to find joy even in the midst of difficult times. They provided a much-needed break from the tumultuous events of the year and brought moments of hope and happiness. So, let's hold on to these positive memories and keep rooting for more moments like these in the future. On a more serious note, we have 2 investigations that shed light on the failures of law enforcement. In Detroit, police failed to adequately follow up on leads and take necessary steps to stop a serial killer. As a result, 4 women were killed and 2 others were raped. The families of the victims are understandably angry at the police's failures. Similarly, in Australia, thefts from retail stores have reached record levels, with a 40% increase in shoplifting incidents. This rise is thought to be linked to inflation and cost of living pressures. It's a concerning trend that highlights the challenges faced by both law enforcement and society as a whole. Moving on, we have some interesting partnerships and scientific breakthroughs to discuss. The Cardano Foundation has teamed up with Brazil's state-owned oil company, Petrobras, to provide blockchain education and explore technology use cases in the energy sector. This collaboration will bring blockchain workshops to Petrobras' 45,000 employees, with participants receiving certificates and even non-fungible tokens. Meanwhile, scientists at the University of Sheffield have found a way to make rice more resistant to saltwater by reducing the number of stomata. This could be integral to feeding a growing population, especially in areas affected by rising sea levels. It's amazing how science continues to find innovative solutions to pressing problems. In other news, we have updates from the world of education and sports. Popular university courses in Victoria, Australia, include society and culture, health, and management and commerce. There has also been a surge in interest in education courses, thanks to a government initiative to address the teacher shortage. In the world of sports, we have LSU star Angel Reese making a triumphant return to her hometown of Baltimore and Ole Miss football addressing their defensive shortcomings through the transfer portal. It's always exciting to see athletes and teams achieving their goals and making a positive impact. And finally, we end with a volcanic eruption in Iceland. While it's not expected to cause major disruptions like the infamous Age of geological eruption in 2010, it could result in pollution from volcanic gas and displace residents from their homes. Iceland is no stranger to volcanic activity, but it's a reminder of the power and unpredictability of nature. Well, that wraps up today's news and analysis. Remember, folks, stay curious, stay informed, and always keep a sense of humor. Now, it's your turn to share your thoughts and questions. What do you make of the political battles over migration? How do you feel about Donald Trump's never-ending legal drama? And which of the moments of joy and inspiration from 2023 resonated with you the most? Let's hear your thoughts. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.